All right. Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Rhonda Gipson-Willis. I'm just in here vibing to some old Lloyd. Anyway, my name is Rhonda Gipson-Willis. I'm your favorite dream pusher, licensed therapist, certified coach. And I want to come in and talk to the people for a little bit. I want to talk to the people for a little bit because I actually just finished my last client for the day. And one of the last questions I asked her, I was like, yo, I'm going to have to put that down, and I might need to talk to the people about that. If you're coming in, say hey, but keep in mind that I might not be able to see your comments just yet because I'm using this system and it's streaming over a couple of different platforms. But if I'll come back later and say reply to you if you have any questions or anything. But and I guess I should go and look it up on Facebook, right? So I'll look it up too. But anyway, so one of the last questions that hey Shelly, I see you. So one of the last questions I asked her, as she was talking about confronting some challenges and being afraid and not real sure or confident in her abilities. And the question I asked her was, what if you are more courageous than you seem? Or more courageous than you think? What if you are more courageous than you think? What if you are actually more courageous than you think? Because here's the thing that I know. That from the outside in, oftentimes we have a hard time identifying our blind spots. And as she's talking about, some of these events and some of these things and decisions that she's made in her life, in my head, I'm thinking, that sounds mighty courageous to me, right? That sounds mighty courageous to me. Plus, I know her. She's been a coaching client for almost a year now. And so as she's talking about these things and wanting to be more courageous and how she was lacking courage, my question to her was, what if you are more courageous than you believe? Then what? Does that change anything? But that got me to thinking about how there's a lot of us, and I include me, there's a lot of us who don't realize just how courageous, how smart, how talented, how gifted, how all of these other things that we are, because for some reason, when we use a measuring stick for ourselves, we tend to judge ourselves differently than we judge other people. We judge ourselves differently. Does that make sense? We judge ourselves and we hold ourselves to a higher standard than we would hold other people. And we therefore find it very easy to diminish our own accomplishments, to not really recognize just how amazing we are, to not recognize how close we are to the things that we actually desire. What if you are more courageous than you think you are? What if you're more courageous? And so I use the example of courage being a muscle, right? And when you think about it, just about everything that you want to do, you have to start off at some place. So I want you to imagine that you're going to build muscle, right? You're going to build muscle. So if you're going to build muscle, right, you're going from a place where you don't really have a lot of muscle, you're going to build muscle. You don't really walk into the gym and pick up a 50-pound weight. That's not your first weight that you pick up, right? I was actually, true story, I was meeting with my trainer yesterday, and he gave me two 20-pound weights and wanted me to do this thing, right? And so I grabbed the weights, and I'm literally like this. I'm literally struggling to get this weight up, And I said, yo, bro, I'm having a hard time with this 20-pound weight. I'm like, yo, like it might be too much. And so what he did is what a lot of us don't do. Instead of saying, okay, never mind, don't do it, he lowered the weight. He lowered the weight, which allows me to then build up to a 20-pound weight. But if in my mind I had determined that I didn't, I just couldn't lift weights, right? I couldn't lift weights because I couldn't lift the 20 pounder, the 220 pounders, the way that it was expected. I could have very easily counted myself out as opposed to adjusting and going. At the end of the day, I still lifted weights, right? Right? Often, far too often, we don't recognize our dopeness. Far too often, we don't recognize our inherent dopeness, just how much we have. And I'll tell you, and for those of you who've been following me, you already know. I would tell you in a minute, I'm a genius and I'm also a bit of a hot mess. Like I got some real hot mess tendencies, right? You know, to be like hot girl-ish. I got some hot mess tendencies, that make it so that it's really easy for me to diminish my genius. What I come to find out is I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one, right? I'm sure there's some of you who have had people say things to you about you that you've discounted because you know all of your dirty laundry. You know all of your I don't really have it together as much as you think I have it together, right? We will very much diminish our own gifts, our own talents, our own results. I'll give you an example. So, you notice, like, I put my name and I put licensed therapist. And here's the thing that I learned. I was working with a coach for a couple of years before she even knew that I was a therapist. And this is the coach who was like a pretty good friend. And when she found out I was a licensed therapist, she said, "Are you kidding? Like, you're a licensed therapist?" I was like, "Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I've had a license since January 2003. What's this, 18 years? I've had a license for a really long time." But what's really interesting is when I go into, when I go on social media, when I see another licensed therapist, when I'm on TikTok and I see somebody who's a licensed therapist, all of a sudden licensed therapist means something when I see it with somebody else, but it means nothing with me. It's not that big of a deal. I'm just like, whatever. But if I see another licensed therapist on TikTok, I'm like, "Oh, girl, what you got to say? What you got to say?" All of a sudden it means something. It means something more when somebody else is doing that thing. And oftentimes we have, it's easy for us to diminish our own accomplishments. Is it just me? Is it just me? If it's not just me, let me know it's not just me. I can't really see a lot of your comments, but let me know. Let me know. I'll go back through. I promise I'll go back through it and respond to comments. And so with that, unless you've been sleeping under, what's that thing called? A rock. Unless you've been sleeping under a rock, you know that I am doing a free masterclass. Well, you know what? I don't say it's free. I don't say it's free. The reason I don't say it's free is because there is a cost that's been paid. I paid the cost. I paid the cost in blood, sweat, and tears so that I can impart these things to you all about living a life on purpose, right? I'm doing this masterclass on the 8th. So a little over about a week and a half. I'm gonna tell you what, I have spots in that class. Hey y'all, I see y'all coming in. Say hi. Tell me where you're from. I have a certain amount of spots allocated. I'm gonna tell you that number, right? It's not a mystery. It's not one of those, well, you know what? I'm gonna say that I have. There's we're almost at capacity. I only have 30 spots available, and we're at 15. No, I have 100 spots, which seemed like it seemed like a very lofty. It's I don't know if you not done this type of thing, but it takes a lot of work to get 100 people to sign up for something, right? Within the first 2 days, we hit 50% capacity. 50% capacity. Let me go on and put the little tickler on in case any of you are thinking about it. The link should be somewhere up there in the description, right? And so my Built for More Purpose Masterclass, right? It's Built for More Purpose Masterclass. The reason I decided to do this, well, if you've been around me long enough, you already know I'm a God girl. And so it was a bit of a, there was a gentle nudge. There was a gentle nudge because I've been chilling, right? I've been doing my own thing. But I had done a purpose masterclass a couple years ago, and it was really beneficial. And there's still people from then who are commenting and telling me about how beneficial it was for them. So I got the nudge to do another one, and it's I enjoy the work that I do, so I'm going to do it unbegrudgingly. I'm really excited about what's going to happen with that, because what I know about this is that most of us, a lot of us, Shelly, you gifted too. I see your comment, girl. You so gifted. We all are, but we don't believe it as much, right? We don't. So I'm going to do this purpose masterclass, and in this masterclass, we're going to explore some things, right? What's your purpose? What's your purpose? And the reason I ask is there's so many people living beneath their purpose. And because they're living beneath their purpose, they are living unfulfilled lives. That doesn't mean that they're not happy. It doesn't mean that you're not happy. It doesn't mean that you're not proud of the accomplishments that you made. But sometimes there's that thing that's telling you should do more. I remember it was, it was several years ago. I would just get this feeling in my gut. I didn't understand then the nudgings of the Holy Spirit, right? I was just like, I get this feeling every so often I should be doing more. Like, I literally have a Facebook post that speaks to this. Like, I feel like I should be doing more. I don't know what more I should be doing, but I feel like I should be doing more. Anybody else get that? That nudge in your spirit, that pang in your gut, that thing that says that what you're doing right now, you're happy with it and it's great, but you should be doing more. At the time that I was getting that I should be doing more, I was living the dream. I was working as a social worker. I had my master's degree. I was licensed. The kids, the dogs, all of that, everything was all the things that I dreamt of. I was working in management, right? I was supervising people, had great teams. It was all the things that I thought that I wanted, but there was that nudge that kept going. Girl, there's something more. There's more. Go for your more. Go for your more. There's more. You should be doing more. And I couldn't wrap my brain around it at the time. I couldn't wrap my brain, but the thing that I know is that I would get that nudge about every 6 months for like 6 years. Every 6 months. Anybody else get that feeling in your gut where where it just says that I should be satisfied. I'm happy. I should be satisfied, but I'm not. There's something more from, I don't know what it is. See, at that point, I didn't really understand pimping my purpose. Right? A lot of us pimp our purpose. And by pimping, I mean make insignificant, right? We go, oh, it's not a big deal that I could do that thing. Or when people say things like Shelly said, what'd you say, Shelly? You said I was gifted. Shelly said I was gifted. And I go, it's not that big of a deal. We do that, right? We do that. And in doing that, we minimize or make insignificant, which is also another definition for pimping, our purpose. And we end up taking those gifts, those talents, the things that make us truly ourselves, that we are built to do, and we put it in places that snuff the life out of us. Snuff the life out of us. And because that happens, right, we go, it feels like this is the thing I should be doing, but I don't really know. Someone just said, how do I sign up for the masterclass? Dreamslaunch.life. If somebody could type that in the comments for me, I'd appreciate it. Or the link is in the description up there. Dreamslaunch.life. Dreamslaunch.life. And so what we tend to do is we minimize to our dissatisfaction. And when we minimize our purpose, right? Not to get in too much of the deets of the masterclass, which if you know me, you already know when you show up, it might be something different. I had somebody say to me, hey, Rhonda, is this something that I've done with you before? Is this something I heard? And I was like, I don't know, because I don't know what it's going to be. Because I tell you what I understand about my purpose and about my gifts. My purpose and my gifts. Sometimes I show up, and sometimes just by virtue of me showing up, God shows out. So here's the thing. I would tell you what it's going to be about. We will work on those things that it's going to be about. But I fully expect that when I operate in my purpose, my purpose, the way that God designed me to be, and the way that he designed me to serve people, that I don't have to have too much of it figured out to know that what's supposed to happen is going to happen. That's the confidence that I have, that what's supposed to happen is going to happen. Right. And so with that, thank you, Shelly. I appreciate you. With that, when you understand your gifts in that way, and most of us don't understand our gifts. And I'm going to tell you, see, I'm a coach with a coach. If you have a coach who don't have a coach, you got to look at it and be like, right? I'm a coach with a coach because I need adult supervision. I need adult supervision because it's very easy for me to also forget how dope I am. And people say, what? Veranda, you the dream pusher. I'm also very clear that dream pushers need dream pushers. I have clients who are coaches. I have a coach. I'm a coach, but what I can't do is coach myself. I cannot coach myself. And so one of the things I understand is that, people are coming in, say hi, something, y'all. I see y'all. One of the things I understand is that unless or until I truly understand my purpose that's connected to the gifts that I have, that I will consistently, no matter how good it looks to everybody else, I will be unfulfilled. There will be a part of me that feels that longing that there's something you should be doing. I'm going to tell you what happened with that feeling. Remember, I said I had that feeling would come like every 6 months. It stopped. It stopped the day that I, not the day, because I don't know the exact day, but I remember that once I launched my business, my leadership development business, it stopped. It stopped. And I didn't feel it again for another 4 or 5 years. And when it came back again, it was the nudge that signified a pivot in my business. It was a nudge that signified a pivot. How often are you ignoring the nudge? How often are you shutting down that part because the things that you see make you believe that you're living the way that you were purposed to live, right? The things that you see. And what happens often is we have brought into the definition of success and happiness and purpose that's a man-made definition. It's a man-made definition. Like man said, if you get a big enough house, if you get a fast enough car, if you have this number of kids, if you have this type of job, you have made it. You are going to be happy. You're going to be fulfilled. You are going to fulfill your purpose. But what really happens is you're fulfilling the purpose of capitalism. Come on now. It's the purpose of capitalism. It's the purpose of capitalism. Okay, Katie. Katie said, I do it far too often. What's that? What's that? What's that you do far too often? You do it far too often. We know it, right? We know it. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah said, beautifully said. And here's the thing. We will sometimes attach to that man-made purpose, right? Which is really oftentimes taking our purpose, what it is that we were meant to do, right? So we were given gifts and we were given talents. We were given gifts that are tied to our purpose, are tied to our purpose in the kingdom. And we've tied it to purpose in the culture. And by tying it to purpose in the culture, we've tied it to, again, the stream of capitalism that says that to be purposeful, right? You take your talents and you put them in this pot. Let me tell you guys about, there was this time, I've talked about this before. This time I decided that I was done with entrepreneurship, because any entrepreneurs, if you're an entrepreneur on this call, put a 1. Put a 1. If you're a full-time entrepreneur, put a 1. If you are you got a side hustle, put a 2. Because I've done both of them. I've done the full-time entrepreneur. I've done the side hustle. I've done the partnership where there were 4 of us. I've done a partnership where there was 3. I've done a partnership where there was 2. I've done the solo. I've done it all, right? As it relates to the different types of entrepreneurship. But the thing that, okay, Katie, I see you. The thing that I know is that when you are fully operating in your purpose, on purpose, things look a little bit different. So anyway, full-time entrepreneur, and I was like, forget this, man. It's hard. It's not supposed to be easy, I suppose, but it's, it's kind of, it's there's a lot that goes into this, right? So I decided, forget that. I'm gonna go and apply for this job. Somebody called me about a position. I said, I'm gonna go and apply for this position and see what they got to say. I said in the interview, and as I said in the interview, they asked me a question. They said, first of all, your credentials, you are overqualified for this position. And I was like, okay. They said, so tell us this, what's your commitment? What's your commitment to the position? I said, well, no, what's your commitment? I said, I'll tell you this. I said, if I accept the position, I will commit to a year. See, you don't get to have me for 5 years. This ain't no contract. It's an at-will state, right? If I take the position, I'll commit to a year. I won't leave you high and dry. But at the end of the day, I'm committed to what's in my best interest. Who says that in an interview? Who says that in an interview? I'm committed to what's in my best interest. And what's in my best interest and what's in your best interest won't always jive, right? It won't always jive. I remember working as a therapist. So I started off working at this agency and I was direct care. I see y'all like that. Some of y'all like that. I can see some of the hearts, right? I started off working as direct care. And then I went to graduate school and I got a graduate degree, right? I took out the student loans. I went to class part-time for 3 years. I didn't miss very many classes. And I remember when I got my promotion, I was promoted from direct care to therapist. And I remember about 2 months in having the revelation that my degree was working way more for them than it was for me. It was working way more for them and it fit their purpose than it did for me, because what happened was I upgraded to a downgrade. I upgraded to a position that now I was working harder at. I had different expectations. And with the little raise that they gave me, I was making less money because I went from hourly to salary. You hear what I'm saying? My purpose, like I'm built to serve in this way. I'm built to serve in this way. I'm a hell of a therapist. I'm a hell of a coach. I'm built to serve in this way. But what had happened was they took that thing, right, that was part of my gift. It's part of my gift. And then it was pimped. It was pimped in a way that was far more beneficial to them, right? Because again, it's a nonprofit, but at the end of the day, it's a capitalistic society. And so the capitalistic society says, you take this person, these capabilities, these talents, this skill set, and you put it in this box. And then you design these things around this box. So let me tell you what happened. Once I see some of the wild faces, y'all. Who's wild? Who's wild? I'm telling you, it's a real thing. Answer me this. Have you ever done that? Put yourself in a position and went, wow, this should be more mutually beneficial than the fact that I do work and they pay me. Like I should get something more out of this. There should be a satisfaction. I shouldn't be working a job, right? Expending my gifts, spending my talents, right? Spending my talents in a place that I'm miserable. That's not how this is supposed to work. But we've normalized it, right? We've normalized it. And so as it relates to purpose, you have to look at, how am I living beneath my purpose? How am I pimping my purpose out? How am I subjugating what it is that I'm truly meant to do and putting it in a system that is pimping it? But they can only pimp it because you allow them to pimp you. Pimping my purpose. And so I decided that part of what I know is that most of us, when we look at how we're built to serve, right? And the title of this, the masterclass, it just got the name, Built for More. Literally, I was in my devotional time yesterday morning. I think it was yesterday morning, and I was reading something, and I just got built for more. We were all built for more. But we don't realize it because we don't believe that we are even as good as we truly are. We don't believe that we're as gifted as we truly are. We don't believe that we're as talented as we truly are. We have missed identifying what our purpose is because it's so foggy, because we're so distracted by the noise, because we're so distracted by all of the other expectations. And so we're going to spend some time delving into what might your purpose be? What might the reason that you exist in this world be? And it's not tied to it might not be tied to your 9 to 5. And that's okay. I did one before. It was called Passionate, Purpose, and Paid, like how you can get paid to do what it is that your purpose to do. That's what I do. The work that I do is work that I'm both passionate about. It's also work that I'm purposed to do, and I get paid handsomely for it. Right? That's the purpose trifecta. That's what we want. But you know what? You don't have to be paid to do that thing that's purpose for you to do. See, here's the thing about purpose, right? Purpose is really how we were designed to use our gifts. There are things that we're supposed to do in this world. And tying it to a 9 to 5 is, again, that's a man-made thing. You can live out your purpose outside of your 9 to 5. You can do things that feed you in that way, right? And so this is what I believe. I believe that passion and purpose, right? So the things when I'm operating in my zone where my gifting is, right? When I'm operating in that place where I have the gifts, there are times that I'm really passionate about it, right? I'm passionate. But here's the thing I understand about passion and purpose. Patrice, I'm excited too. I'm so excited too. Passion, right? Passion is how I feed me. Because we oftentimes hear you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. And so the things that I'm passionate about, right? Like I get passionate about doing these Facebook Lives. I get passionate about serving the people in this way, because here's the thing. I don't get paid to do Facebook Lives. I don't get paid to do this. I get paid to stand up and speak. I get paid to go and do trainings. I get paid to do coaching, but I don't get paid to do Facebook Lives. But I think some of you can agree that there are times that I show up and I'm passionate about this thing because I'm looking at the feedback. I'm looking at how it impacts the lives of the people that I'm put here to serve, even those people who don't know, right? Even those people who may never pay me a dime, because it's not about that. But fortunately, the thing that I'm passionate about that feeds me, right? Passion is what feeds you. My purpose is how I feed you all. My passion feeds me. My purpose feeds you. My passion feeds me. My purpose feeds you. What are you doing that you are passionate about? How is your passion feeding you? How are you getting that part of you fed so that you can show up maybe to the 9 to 5 that you don't really particularly care for, but you still have pep in your step because you have joy that's attached to what it is that you're passionate about and your purpose to do? What if the thing that your purpose to do is to help people see the best in themselves? What if the thing that your purpose to do? So my coach said to me just recently, she was like, part of your purpose is joy. You add joy to people's lives. And here's the thing I know about adding joy to people's lives. That doesn't have to be a paid endeavor. That could be done with an interaction with the mailman. That could be done with an interaction at the grocery store. That could be done with a stranger who drops in my inbox. That could be done during a session. I've had sessions, like literally, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was in the middle of a session and my client and I are laughing about something, right? And I was thinking, how many people actually laugh with their therapist or their coach as they're experiencing some breakthrough? That's the joy. That's what I walk with. That's what, when I walk into a room, I want people to feel it. I want the temperature to shift. That's part of my purpose. I don't have to get paid for it, but understanding it and knowing that that's part of how I'm purpose, that in operating in that realm, that is going to feed the people that I'm put there to serve. which also comes back and feeds me because now I'm more passionate about it, right? That adds a level of fulfillment to my life that's not dependent upon a paycheck. Do y'all hear me? Do y'all hear me? It's not necessarily, it's not dependent upon a paycheck. It can be, it can be, it can be. That requires that you take some leaps of faith, right? That requires that you do some things that might seem a little contrary to what it is that you're trying to do. For example, I left a 20-year career and started a brand new business, right? And when I started my business, so here's the thing. When I started my business, I planned that my plan was to do mental health trainings because that's what I had been doing. I've been doing mental health trainings. The mental health trainings evolved into leadership development and leadership trainings. The leadership trainings evolved into executive coaching. The executive coaching evolved into online programs. Online programs with purpose coaching. Now I'm coaching people on their purpose and pushing past their barriers and mindset and all of that. That evolved to, I eventually went back to therapy. That evolved from executive coaching to, again, now therapeutic coaching. It's an evolution, but all of those things were in line with how my gifts are set up to serve. How my gifts are set up to serve. And because I was courageous enough to take that leap, right? To take that leap when I was laid off and not go back into the comforts of where I came from. I took a leap. Now I'm able to live a life that's both passionate and purposed and also paid. So that's the trifecta. But that doesn't have to be the goal for you. That does not have to be the goal for you. That does not have to be the goal for you. But don't you want to live on purpose? Don't you want the joy that comes with knowing that you're doing what it is that you were put on this earth to do? Too many people don't even know what that is. They've forgotten. They've forgotten. They've forgotten. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what does it look like? How are you set up to not only identify, but to remember? Because here's another thing that I'm sure of. As both the coach, right? You know, when they say, I'm not only a client, I'm the player president, I'm the purpose president. I'm not only a client, I'm the president, right? It's very easy to forget how completely dope you are. It's very easy to allow, I don't know what it was, the flow of this world to make you forget how amazingly purposed and gifted you are. It's very easy to lose sight of that, especially when you are stuck in the decisions that you made when you were 18. Here's the thing I think is really weird. I think it's really weird, you know, as a woman of age, right? I'm 50 now. As a 50-year-old woman, I think about how we expect 18-year-olds to pick a career that they're going to stick with until they're like 67. We expect 18-year-olds to make a career decision based upon what? We don't assess for gifts and talents. We don't say, you know, we just like, yo, pick something. And most of the time, people pick the thing that one feels easy, or two is going to make them a lot of money, or whatever. And so I know a lot of people I know a lot of what I like to call recovering attorneys. How many attorneys do you know who are practicing law? I know people with law degrees who are not practicing law. Like, there are a lot of people who got law degrees because it was really cool to say, I want to be an attorney, right? It was really cool. And it's an admirable thing. But a lot of us have made decisions when we're 18 that we're still holding ourselves accountable for. Some of you are in careers right now that you have no business being in. Some of you are in situations right now that are making you miserable. And you're in it because when you were 17 years old, you made a decision before you even knew yourself, before you even knew your worth, before you even knew your gifts. And some of you, because of the wrong decision that you made, you're under the impression that you don't have any gifts. You're under the impression You're under the impression that what they tell you about you is what there is about you. So I was having this conversation as well as a therapist, right? Or as I was a director for a foster care agency for a number of years, and we had these reports called monitoring and evaluation reports, and it's all the numbers. How much paperwork has been turned in? Do we have this file? Are these files in compliance? All of this stuff. And I was talking about how working in that field, even as a therapist, I was the type of therapist that they will call to talk or talk to other people's children. I was like that person who can, I was like a kid whisperer. I was really good. People really enjoyed that. But the thing that I was raised on, good golly, that I was rated on, right, was my paperwork for the most part, and those numbers and how are things coming in. And because of that, if I looked at the totality of the job, I would think that I wasn't really that good at the job. But here's the thing. I was good at the part that matters. I was good at the part that was in alignment with my gifts. And my gift is I'm a helper, I'm a healer, I'm a server. Those are my gifts. My gift is not paperwork, y'all. My gift is not paperwork. So in creating and taking the risk, right? And being courageous enough to step out on faith, right? And take the risk and make the sacrifices that I had to make to fight and claw for the life that I have right now. It's allowed me the opportunity to step up in the ways that I was built to serve. And because of that, I can feel more confident in how I serve the people. Does that make sense? Because some of you are out of alignment with your gifts, and some of you are your purpose is being pimped, and because of that, you've significantly diminished in your mind how important, how necessary, how real your gifts are. How important, how necessary, and how real. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the covers back. We're going to pull the covers back from who it is they told you were to who it is you really are. And this is what I know. Sometimes we believe that we know who we are. But if you've been rocking with me long enough, you already know. You already know. I will tell you about those 4 parts of yourself. The 4 parts of yourself. And some of us, the biggest part of ourselves is that blind spot. That place where we don't even know what we don't know about ourselves. Well, that's the unknown. But the place where other people know these things about us. But as it relates to self-awareness, there are a lot. Okay, Charlotte. Charlotte said, you are talking to me. I hear you. There are a lot of us who don't realize how much we don't really know ourselves. Now, I'm going to use me as an example. I'm a pretty introspective woman. For most of my life, I've been involved in the people skills and whatnot, working with people. I have a degree in psychology. I have another degree in social work. I have an understanding of people. I have an understanding of me, I believe. I spend a lot of time thinking about me. It sounds kind of egotistical, but I'm just telling you, I'm like, why did I do that? But it wasn't until I started going higher and higher and higher did I realize just how much bigger my blind spots were than I realized. How much bigger. And here's the thing, unless you have somebody who's willing to say to you, yo, did you realize that when you do this, this is what happens? Or did you catch that when you say this thing or you do this thing, or did you catch that about yourself? No, I completely missed that. You know what we miss it? We miss it because it's too close. We miss it because it's too close. Anything that's too close becomes difficult to see. That's why therapists can't do therapy with their family. You ever met a therapist and their whole family jacked up? Because oftentimes we don't have an objective lens. That's why people go to therapy. That's why people have coaches. It's for an objective lens. And without that objective lens, it's very difficult sometimes to be able to know what it is that you don't know about yourself. And sometimes the things that you don't know about yourself are the things that's your secret sauce, but you haven't claimed it. You haven't identified it. You haven't acknowledged it. You don't even know. You haven't owned it. So yeah, we're going to be talking about some things like that. And so what's going to happen with this, if you've signed up for the masterclass, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to create almost like a classroom. So we'll have, there's going to be a private group where there will be instructions and different things, but I'm going to recommend that you get a journal that you dedicate to this process, because whether you decide to do anything else with me or not, you need to get into this spot and do there will be homework. I'm pretty sure. One of my secret sauces is my questions. I ask some really good questions. That's part of my gift, right? I ask really good questions. And so part of that is there's going to be a question, an opportunity to explore questions. Be willing to do the homework, get your journal, and prepare to push. Like, here's the thing. I'm going to offer it and you're going to get out of it what you put into it, but there's going to be an opportunity. There's going to be an opportunity for you to get something out of it, Better plug in my computer, y'all. They say my computer's, my battery's dying. That's metaphorical right there, because a lot of y'all sitting around, your battery's dying and you're not even paying attention. All right, hold on, y'all. I told you things get real interesting. So anyway, did y'all see how that change happened? Oh, this is about to be a lesson right here. This is about to be a lesson. So you saw my webcam is an enhancement. My computer already came with the camera, but if you saw how janky that camera is, right? This is a MacBook. It came with a camera. That webcam camera, the camera that came with the computer is kind of jacked up, right? I can make a choice. I could have made a choice and just stayed with it, or I could have enhanced it. Enhancing required that I make some investments, right? I had to make an investment in a new camera. And because I made the investment in a new camera, you guys see things a little clearer. Somebody missing me on this. This is the whole analogy that I didn't plan to have. But for some of you, it's time to make an enhancement. For some of you, I didn't realize how bad my camera was until I got a good camera. I didn't realize what I was missing until I could see. I didn't realize how bad it was until it got good. Somebody's missing me right here. Somebody's missing me. Some of you don't realize how bad it is because it hasn't gotten good yet. So I had another client. I'm back. I had another client. And this other client today, as we were talking about how busy she is, right? How much stuff she's doing and how she pushes herself to the edge, right? She pushes herself pretty much until she crashes into a wall, right? Because she's built for more, but she doesn't have the boundaries, right? She hasn't developed those boundaries for herself. And I asked her, I said, do you know how you boil a frog? She was familiar, but for those of you who aren't, anybody know how you boil a frog? So this is how you boil a frog, a live frog. This is how you boil a live frog. I'm not suggesting that anybody boils a live frog, but in case you wanted to, this is how you do it. You put the live frog in a pot of lukewarm water. and you turn on the flame. You turn the flame on low. When the flame is low and the frog is chilling in the water, it won't notice the incremental temperature increases. It won't notice that the water temperature has changed. It won't notice until it's too late. Because as the temperature increases 1 degree at a time, the frog acclimates to its environment. And when the frog acclimates to its environment, it oftentimes doesn't realize that it's boiling until it's boiled. Is that a word? Boiled? Yeah, I'm from down south. Every so often I get one of them words. The frog doesn't realize that it's boiling until it's boiled or boiled or too hot and cooked. How about that? Outside of your purpose, some of you have tolerated situations much longer than you should have because you've been like that frog in the incremental temperature change. The temperature's changed just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. Now, think about this. Think about cooking that frog and you have the water boiling and you throw a live frog in there. What's that frog liable to do? It's going to jump out, right? It's going to jump out. That's why some of you have left situations and positions and people. And when you left, it wasn't until you left that you realized how difficult it was. I remember when I left the field of social work, I knew it was stressful. Excuse me, but it wasn't until I left the field of social work that I realized just how stressful it was and how that stress had got normalized and that stress had become my new baseline. I remember going to the doctor once. I went to the doctor and the doctor goes, Are you stressed? And I was like, No, I'm not stressed. I was boiling. I was boiling. I didn't know that I was boiling because it had become my new baseline. Stress was normal. Stress had become my new, I built up such a tolerance for stress. But what happened was my body started to show it. My body started to show it. Outside of your purpose, it's really easy to get out of alignment with what brings you joy, with what you're meant to do, with what serves you as you are serving the people. That's what happens. And so at the end of the day, I see some comments, y'all. At the end of the day, when you know yourself as well as you can, right? Keeping in mind that we should all be evolving. I tell you what, this version of me is not the same version of me that you got 2 years ago because I'm ever evolving. And so I recognize that because of that, I'm going to perpetually be introducing myself or reintroducing myself to myself. It doesn't shake me as much as it used to. But if I'm being honest with you, sometimes it feels like an identity crisis. Sometimes it feels like an existential crisis. But I recognize it as part of the process because as I'm ever stretching and I'm growing and I'm doing those things that I'm purposed to do, I recognize it gives me an opportunity to reach higher and to go higher in purpose. And as I go higher in purpose, I'm going higher towards the promise. I'm going higher towards fulfillment, even in the smallest of things. I was at the grocery store the other day, and I kid you not, like the cashier, he says something, and I answered, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And the next thing I know, he's telling me about church and how he's a pastor. And like, it was a whole conversation that came out of nowhere. I now recognize that those conversations don't come out of nowhere. A lot of times those conversations come out of obedience. A lot of times those conversations come out of recognizing that, yeah, there's sometimes I could just say one thing and it spouts this whole other thing. And I'm like, how did we get here? Instead of questioning your gift, how about you dig into it? Instead of nullifying your gift, how about you invest in it? Instead of discounting your gift, how about you acknowledge it and scream from the rooftops? This is who I am, and this is what I'm built to do. This is what I'm built to do. And I guarantee you, you are likely built for so much more than what it is you're giving yourself credit for. You are built for so much more, so much more. There's so much more in store for you. You are built for more. You're not built to keep a timesheet. You're not built to be a taxi cab. You're built for so much more. But it doesn't matter if you don't recognize it, if you don't understand it. So I think I'm going to close out. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I can only see comments on one thread, but if there are any questions, hit me up. The login or the sign up is dreamslaunch.life. Dreamslaunch.life. The last time I checked, there were like 51 registrants. My cap is 100. Dreamslaunch.life. The last time I did one of these was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. So get in. I keep telling people, get in where you fit in. For some of you, this is where you fit in. I'm going to tell you why it's where you fit in, because maybe you're not ready to invest in working with me for long term. Maybe you're not willing or ready to do those things, but I'm telling you, it's no cost. The only thing you have to invest is time and effort and energy. And it could quite literally change your life. I've had people say things to me like, I spent 20 minutes with Rhonda and it changed my life. And that's me recognizing that that's not about Rhonda. That's about Rhonda showing up in her purpose, how God designed me. And when I allow myself to do that, I recognize that it could change lives. No cap, as the kids would say. I'm not being hyperbolic. I don't know what's going to happen when we do that call. I mean, I'm going to have an idea. I'm going to come in prepared. But right now, you have nothing to lose. Nothing. Nothing. Built for more Purpose Masterclass. Nothing to lose and everything to gain. Everything to gain. Learn who you are. I get paid well to train. I get paid well to show up places. I get paid well to do all of these things. I don't know when the next time is I'll do one of these. That's not a marketing ploy or anything like that. I'm being honest. Like I said, there will be a group, and I'll be sending out an email at some point that directs you to the group with the instructions and things you need that will allow you to make this a more complete round experience, right? Because I want to make sure I give you as much bang for your buck as possible. One of the things you'll learn about me is I'm a bit of an overserver, which benefits a lot of people in a lot of ways, right? It benefits a lot of people in a lot of ways. And so this is how I want to serve you all. This is how I want to usher in 2021, because 2020 showed us a lot about ourselves. Am I right? 2020 showed us a lot about ourselves. And so now it's time to honor. It's time to honor who it is you were designed to be. It's time to rise to the occasion and meet him or her where she is, where she's supposed to be. It's time to make decisions today that your future self will thank you for. And you can start with a free masterclass. Again, it's not free because I paid the cost, blood, sweat, and tears. And what I'm going to do is share with you all some of my breadcrumbs along the way. I'm like the Harriet Tubman of purpose. I found mine. Let me help you find yours. We go get your freedom. We go, come on, walk you off the plantation through the treacherous lands. Come on, we go do that. We go do that. That's what we could do. I'm bringing you here because what I recognize is, regardless of if 100 people show up or one person shows up, I recognize that whoever is there is whoever's supposed to be there. Some of you won't be there and you're supposed to be there, but whoever's there, they're going to get served like heck, like nobody's business. They're going to get served. You go get served. So do yourself a favor and listen, tell your friends. Don't keep this a secret. You know that there's somebody. Share this broadcast with them. Share the link with them. Tell them about this thing. Tell them what you know about me. I got receipts. If you're not able to make it all 3 days, that's fine, because as I mentioned, there's going to be a replay available in the group. You're going to have to join the group in order to get the replay. And when it's done, you can leave the group. The group will be archived, but it's going to be available so that we can kind of build some community and have some conversation outside of that. And I'll probably want to ask some questions, and do some other things. So, just know you don't have to be there all 3 days. On the third day, this is what I'm thinking. I probably shouldn't say this in case I don't do it, but I'm probably going to do it. On the third day, I think that I'm going to allow for some live coaching. Do you guys think that's a good idea? Some live coaching where folks can come up on the screen with me. I think I might do that. On the third day, and we might make that a little longer, because I think I booked like an hour and a half for each day. I've tried doing an hour before, and an hour just isn't enough time. So give yourself an hour and a half each day. I see you, Chantal. You be there? I'm looking forward to seeing you there, Lipstick Chatter. Okay, so Arir says this is a good idea. Okay, all right, I got you. Okay, so I'll block off the third day as being a day that we're able to have some participation like that. And you'll probably have to be inside the group so you can send me your question or whatever it is you want to talk about, and then I can send you the deets. But we'll work all of that out. February 8th, 9th, and 10th, that's a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evening. It's 8 p. EST. And we're going to change some lives, y'all, because that's what I'm purposed to do. That's what God equipped me for. But I didn't just get, I didn't just get the gifts and then just take off running. No, I had to work. I had to develop. I had to invest in my gifts. I had to be a good steward of my gifts. I have to show up sometimes when I don't even want to show up for my gifts and with my gifts. I have to push past comfort. We all have to push past comfort. What are you willing to pay for your gift? What are you willing to do? So here's the thing. Here's a quote from one of my favorite philosophers, Winnie the Pooh. At the end of the day, just remember this. You are braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. You're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. It's time to rise and meet her. Or him. Guys are invited too. So if there's somebody in your life that you love, that you want to see on this journey with you, right? Because you have an opportunity. This could be one of those things you can go, remember when we did that thing back then? It could be a turning point for a lot of people. Invite them. If you have teenage children, people who are able to invite them. I was talking to someone today, and I'm going to end this soon, but I was talking to someone today, and I said, we really need to do far more interventions younger with kids. I mean, I know we do interventions, but I mean in terms of soft skills and conflict resolution and confidence boosters, right? Because at the end of the day, childhood lasts forever. And there's so many people that I'm working with now who can go back and pinpoint that thing that happened in childhood that changed them, that they still revert back to sometimes. But also recognize that there are some touch points, some opportunities, things like this that are also things you can go back to and go, that was a pivotal turning point for me. That's the way that I intend to create this. That's the way I intend to create this, so that everybody can dig it. Everybody can get into it. So yeah, that's it. Okay, KK says she just forwarded to her little tribe. Forward it to your friends. You can go to dreamslaunch.life, and at dreamslaunch.life, it'll take you to the web page that has the sign in stuff. Just let folks know, yo, I'm doing this thing. Join me. Join me. We could do it together. Join me, because it's going to be I think it's going to be amazing. It's going to be life-changing. It's definitely going to be life-changing. Even if it only changes one life, I'm good. It's going to be worth the 3 days of me showing up. It's going to be worth all the prep that I put into it. It's going to be worth everything that I poured into this, because this is what I'm purposed to do. So I'm excited about it. I'm passionate about it. Even if I'm not getting paid. So at any rate, that was all, guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment. Drop it in now. I'll go back and answer them if there's anything. Oh, I almost said, like, if you guys are on TikTok, on TikTok, you can push a comment and an answer to that. I'm waiting for Facebook to get that. But I will go back and I will answer your questions. And I'll probably come in and do a video tomorrow. My goal is to really show up more, right? Because I recognize that with my purpose, that sometimes the things that I don't think matter, like whether or not I show up, really do matter. I show up and then people pop into my inbox and say, wow, that was just what I needed to hear. And I'm just like, really? I barely did anything. But that's what it's like when you're walking in purpose. That's what it's like. And the world needs you on purpose. The world needs you on purpose. So that is all. I didn't plan to talk this long, but I appreciate you all. Don't forget, come on through. There we go. What's that? The tickler. Dreamslaunch.life. Dreamslaunch.life. Tell your friends, tell your frenemies, tell anybody you want to up level. And I'll see y'all then. All right, y'all. Bye.